Hey, just a little update. I got home from work today and it's been pretty busy. I have been eating well on the protein. I started off today with some eggs. I was working pretty busy today, but so I took a lunch break where I had 10 fried bone-in wings with ranch and hot sauce and I splurged. I don't usually drink soda at all, I'll be honest, and I haven't for years, probably like once a month. And I usually try to shy away from diet soda, but I was trying to see, was it going to affect my numbers? I know, sometimes there's a lot of sodium in soda, sometimes, so I had a Diet Coke and I came home, took my shower, weighed myself, and I weigh like 150.5. So, even though it was sort of my monthlies, during the time, I'm still down 5 pounds, which is actually still, I would say, significant. I think I usually only gain and lose about 3 pounds, but it's possible that I was just fluctuating in different ways this week anyway. I still think that was an epic win. Anytime I can come home losing weight after eating hot wings and ranch and drinking, I don't care what kind of soda, and still come home and say I'm down a pound, I've had a good day. So technically this is the end of the Mighty Meat section for this period because I'm trying to cycle into the normal mode. And so I don't know. I was kind of deciding whether I should start with dinner tonight because technically I can, but I have this thing where if I'm already like doing the keto thing. I'm not doing the test strip, so I have no idea if I'm actually in ketosis, but I'm doing all the work that should put me into some type of low carb type of state, So I'm going to go ahead and probably stay keto tonight and wake up tomorrow morning and just do my normal day. Also, slight other change. Last week I did my fast on Sunday and then my broth fast on Monday. And I wasn't a huge fan of that. So even though normally I would do it like where there's a couple days of normal eating at least, because I really like to get my berries. I like to get all my stuff, and I don't want to eat like berries and watermelon all day either, because it's, you still need your protein. You still want to, try not to be like gorging yourself. That's never, ever the point. So I like to have a couple days of each one, but that's going to actually rush through so that I can get onto my next node faster. So this is a little bit rushed. I'm going to only have the one day to take care of that. So I'm going to be starting tomorrow at 7 p.m. and going on the fast. And so I'll be eating all day normally tomorrow and then fasting all day through Saturday at 7 p.m. Although I usually break it more around 8 or 9 just because, again, I like to stretch it out just pinches at a time if I can. And like it's not going to make a big deal for me. So then I'll be on bone broth on Sunday, which will have me on all whole foods during the week. It just was awkward, like having a jar of bone broth with me all day at work. For me, that was just it was an easy enough lunch. It was also an awkward lunch. I also had another one where I did the can of tuna where I had like my little marinade on the side and kind of like mixed it. Also awkward. I would rather try to avoid those kinds of snacks. But the keto is pretty easy to hit up on the road. So a little bit different on the nodes, but honestly, I kind of like how they're flexible. I'm doing 7-day cycles just to kind of, as example, you could extend these just to whatever feels kind of comfortable for you. I don't really recommend extending the 24-hour fast, even though it does increase the autophagy. So does the broth fast. So does, some of the other stuff. It's not quite the same, but we're trying to do weight loss. Longer fasts aren't necessarily going to get you the weight loss. Because they slow the digestion, because they slow your metabolic rate. So we really actually want to get out of that fast as soon as we possibly can. And just it's our bounce into keto that helps us kind of kickstart it so that our little tiny bits of keto maximize in their benefit so that we can move on to our next node. We don't want the microbes in our gut to get too unused to having vegetables or it won't be able to digest them anymore. It's similar to meat too, with and carbs. When I was 8 years old, I was traumatized by veal at a banquet, And I decided that I never wanted to eat meat again. Became a vegetarian for 10 years. So I know how it goes when you are looking for different kinds of proteins, when you're having trouble. I kind of was a bit of a carbitarian. I ate too many processed foods, those patties and stuff like that, Morning Stars and all that. I was ovo-lacto, so I was eating like too many cheese crisps and stuff like that. It really just threw my levels off. Since when I became 18, I read an article that said, vegetarians growing up in adolescence sometimes lacked protein and had struggled with developmental issues. And so that's sort of what switched me over. I decided that I would suck it up and eat meat again, even though that was emotionally difficult for me. So ever since then, I've been eating meat. It didn't make me gain weight. It didn't make me lose weight. But I have noticed that whenever I'm doing something like a protein-filled diet or something that just doesn't really focus on protein, there's a mega difference. I can still lose the weight either way. I can lose the weight without the heavy protein. I can lose the weight with the heavy protein. But especially as getting older, I noticed that I stay more filled out with the protein. I look like a little less gaunt. I look just a little bit like, how you look like plump and thin at the same time. Protein kind of gives me that kick. And so as much as I'm going to be focusing on eating everything, I'm still going to be trying to eat as much protein as possible. I'm still going to be looking at carbs as my secondary thing, oh, if it tastes good, oh, if it's a treat, oh, if I really want it, but honestly, I'm trying to focus on feeling the best that I possibly can, fueling the best that I possibly can. And, I know a lot of people will tell you it's just calories, it's just calories, it's just calories. I would witness and testify that as a person who has tried multiple different types of diets, different forms of eating protein, the vegetarian, I did protein shakes. When I was a teenager, I tried to do a chlorella diet. I do chlorella now because it's really good for you. But I would just take 20 capsules of chlorella and eat it for lunch, thinking that I was doing something really good for my body. And the truth is, it's more than that. It's more than just repressing yourself. It is all about the refeed. In the fast, I didn't lose even 1 pound. And honestly, that was on purpose. That was proof that I was staying hydrated enough to actually rehydrate my body. Now I want to have enough protein to make sure I nourish my body, that I'm staying strong, that even though I'm losing weight, I am actually retaining these muscles. I want to be able to get my work done, open those jars and doors for myself and not be a wimp, which is actually what happens to me if I lose weight without the protein. A little funny other thing is just last year, I weighed 133 pounds, but it was on a caloric deficit diet. And it wasn't really I was trying to go on a diet. I was doing a study on the streets of all things, and I had a $10 a day budget and no refrigerator. So most of my foods were microwave meals. They just didn't really have very much protein in them. I was trying to keep up on that budget just so that I could kind of observe the homeless population a little bit closer to their level, and also I just wanted to see what was going on out there with the fentanyl and stuff like that. But anyway, by 6 months into that, I was absolutely skinny as a rail. No curves, no muscles. It hurt to stand up. It hurt to do everything. It hurt to sit down. I had nothing. Every single thing was gone. And I'm literally gonna show you guys the difference. I can find some pictures from back then. I'll try to get those put up in the videos or whatever, where you can actually see how absolutely sickly skinny I looked. So this is going to be a lot drastic difference. I want to show you guys how you can get down to in the same range of weight. I don't know if I'm going to get down to 133, but probably could easily hit somewhere in the 135 to 140, and you're just going to see that I look a lot better compared to that. So anyhow, I'm looking forward tomorrow. I'm going to probably be eating pineapples and blueberries at some point. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope if you're following along that you're also seeing success. And I am so looking forward to the next node because it is going to be clean and ready and we are going to rock the house. Cheers!